you said something interesting last segment about the MVP.
Doesn't always happen.
And about Brock Purdy and how you thought that voters might not want to give him the MVP by the very nature of him being a flash in the pan kind of an award winner. And so
Absolutely.
I looked back from Lamar Jackson going backward, and you have to go all the way back, like really far back, to find somebody who would be a flash in the pan. You have Matt Ryan in 2016, who won only one, Cam Newton the year before. These are not guys who are flash in the pans. You know, they were highly drafted and they had amazing years. You have to go all the way back to 1982. Mark Mosley, a kicker, won the MVP.
What?
Mark Mosley, a kicker of the Washington team, won the MVP. And you have to remember that was the year when they only had 9 games. Mark Mosley won the MVP.
Of the regular season?
Yes.
What?
Mark Mosley.
Why do I not know that? That's crazy.
1982. He beat out Dan Fouts, Marcus Allen, Joe Theismann, and Danny White.
Can you imagine what the media would do with that today?
Right? Justin Tucker, MVP.
Sat there and you're like, all right, Mark Mosley or Dan Fouts?
Yeah. Or Marcus Allen?
Let's see, we got the guy who engineers Air Coryell and a kicker.
Let's give it to the kicker.
It's ridiculous.
Right? He got 35 of the 35 of the, I think, 68, 74, 79 votes.
Jeez.
42%.
That's wild,
of the
man.
precincts. Yeah.
Strike shortened season. He converted 23 straight field goals in 81-82.
Yeah, he's a kicker. I don't care.
20 of 21.
Dude, you could come out. This facts, what I'm about to say. 2024 season. You could play on a team that never scores a touchdown, yet Mike Tomlin style sneaks into the playoffs
at 9-8,
at 10-7 or 9-8,
and he goes 70 of 70,
and he never missed a field goal. You got 5 that are more than 60 yards, and your team never scored a touchdown all year.
Right.
You ain't winning the MVP.
You're not even top 5.
You ain't getting a vote.
Right.
The world would not ever consider even giving one vote to a kicker in 2024.
They did go 8-1.
That's fantastic.
Won the Super Bowl.
Good for them.
Soccer style.
Playoffs don't matter in the MVP vote.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, point is, I do think that. I do think that if you want to phrase it that way, people were looking for a reason to vote against Brock, or that felt vulnerable. It felt like a vulnerable vote because obviously there's a healthy portion of the population that is still not quite sure what they're looking at. I don't even think that's 100% unfair. The way I look at the MVP, though, is stop making it this grandiose thing. Like Lamar Jackson is more important than Brock Purdy, and he's more accomplished, and that doesn't matter. We're talking about this year, period. And he produced as well as anybody this year. So a vote for Brock is not this grandiose statement about his career. If Mosley the kicker can win, then my God, so can Brock Purdy. But, anyway.
Different era, but yeah.
Water under the bridge. Let's go to Jonathan in the city here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Jonathan, what are you doing?
Hey, just feeling super. And I got 3 things, if I may, that needs to happen if they were to capture the prize. Number 1, Brock Purdy needs to be that ultimate game manager, the smooth operator that he is. Keep the offense on schedule all game long. Number 2, we need CMC and that running game to be dynamite. Number 3, and this is the most important of all because defense wins championship, that $300 million defensive line needs to be on fire. They need to come out with their hair on fire and just be the game record that they are, especially Nick Bosa, Armstead, and Hargett. They need to hold the point of attack in the middle and be a stonewall and stop that Kansas City Chiefs running game. Number 3 and number 4, this is the thing that gives me the most confidence heading into this game. And I'm not too overconfident. I got the appropriate fear because we're going up against the Mahomes. They're healthy, and what we've been saying all year long, if they're healthy, they're winning this thing. So let's go Niners.
Okay, Jonathan, it's good stuff. That's the stuff that I still can't figure out, though. They were healthy against the Packers and the Lions too.
Yeah,
and came out and had at least periods of what we would consider very poor play. Quite frankly, on both sides of the ball, I don't know about very poor, substandard, and yes. The defense in the first half against the Lions, I will use that phrase, very poor.
Yeah. They were flaccid, Mark.
It's maddening, and it's what gets me is I can't for the life of me, despite watching a lot of this stuff again, listening to those who are really in the know, I can't figure out why. Why it looked that way. I can't figure it out. And a lot of us have gotten ourselves to the point where we expect the defense will look different on Sunday, and I think that's simply because we want it to, or we think it should.
Right.
But if I can't figure out why they look so bad, I also can't come up with a rational reason why they will look different coming up on Sunday. So, I don't know. I don't know what to expect.
Well, there's no rational reason why they would or would not play better and play harder in the Super Bowl. Like, the irrational reason is it's the Super Bowl. And it's, 60 minutes for history. You can be a champ or you can not be a champ. And, well, that should be enough, darn it, to make sure that you play hard. But then you go back to the Detroit game, and it's really the same thing. It's win or go home. And you were at home, and you came out, and defensively you were on your heels. And I listened to Low Neal a lot today with Steiny and Guru, and he was talking about them just not showing that same effort. The effort level wasn't there, and you got pushed around, and it took until you got to halftime before you really kind of woke up and realized you were in a fight for your season. And so do they have that same wake-up call again? Because if you fall behind Mahomes in the same way you fell behind Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, you're not going to come back against this team.
Listen, I get it. That's what the only thing that bothers me about this, because I do think the Niners are the better team. I do like their chances. I do think that this is about 49ers versus Chiefs, not Purdy versus Mahomes. I think all of those things. But when people say, well, the defense is going to come out ready to go, pin their ears back now because it's the Super Bowl.
Right.
The last one was the NFC Championship game. In your own building. On some level, was that not big?
Not big enough, Mark.
In other words, like the Niners came out and they're just like, wow, yeah, it's just the NFC title game. Like, no, that's not how they were feeling. Okay, Boombox was there. The dancing was going. The trip to the Super Bowl was on the line, and you were in your own locker room. And a bunch of them came out and underperformed. And we act like now that's not possible on Sunday because Steve Wilkes talked to them.
Right.
So now it's all better. What?
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
It doesn't, I believe they can be better because they've been better. But this whole, we buttoned it up, we talked to them, I still have concerns.
For sure.
I still have concerns because if it's in your DNA to do what you did 2 weeks ago, then it's in your DNA to do it again this week.
And why did they do it 2 weeks ago? Why did they come out and play so lackluster?
I don't know.
Did you look at Detroit and think, well, we got this?
Yeah, maybe they didn't. Maybe they weren't scared of the Lions.
Right.
I don't know.
So are you now scared of the Chiefs?
It's easier
because
to be.
You should be.
It's easier to be scared of the Chiefs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if Steve Wilkes sent a scare into the room and said, showed the tape and said, guys, this is not going to be good enough. And if that's the case, then maybe that was a wake-up call.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, nobody knows until we actually see it. And we know that the Chiefs will likely start with the ball unless... I
don't know. How does Andy Reid like to play that?
Yeah, we'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
But the Niners have the toss, so if the Niners lose the toss, will Andy defer?
I don't know.
Give it to Kyle first?
I don't know. I'd love some Chiefs data on that. Grandy, Lucas,
can you guys
look that up and see what the Chiefs usually do when they win the toss? Maybe they defer too.
If I'm Andy and I win the toss, I'm going to defer. I want to make Kyle uncomfortable. And it's on record that Kyle wants the ball to start the second half.
Sure.
And if I'm Andy and I have a great defense, go ahead. Niner offense, show me.
Yeah, but it would be a poll if I'm Andy Reid to be like, just send Patrick out. It's
a flex.
They've been phenomenal on opening drives. And if you can grab a 7-0 lead, it is incredibly significant in these playoffs. They did it against Baltimore, and they ended up winning a low-scoring, close game by 7 points. Again, the Niners' 2 wins are the only playoff outcomes this entire season where the team that won didn't score first. So it would be a draw to me if I was Andy Reid to be like, put in Patrick. Send in Patrick.
Send in Mahomes.
Yeah, that would be a draw. That'd be a draw for sure.
I'm looking at the odds real quick, Mark, and the Niners this year, offensive score 59% of the time on the opening drive.
Okay.
35% TD, 24% field goal. The Chiefs are at 29%. 24 TD and 6% field goal.
Interesting.
I can't find what Andy Reid prefers to do if he wins the toss, but I know someone who will be able to tell us. Mitchell Schwartz in about half an hour.
Yeah. Although that could have evolved over the last few years. I know Mitchell. Maybe. Yeah, Mitchell's not on the team anymore, but yeah, we'll ask him. We'll ask about that whole process they go through, the thought process of all of that.